What's up guys, I'm BTC, welcome back to the Respawn where I answer your questions. Today we're going to be talking about a poison-based hero, Symmetra, and a lot more. I know Respawn videos are supposed to come out on Sunday, but I seem to have completely lost a day at some point late last week. I don't know where it went, but I checked yesterday thinking it was Saturday, and all of a sudden it was Sunday, and I was a little late. But here it is. Now, if you're new to the Respawn series, how it works is I get tons of questions all the time. I don't have enough time to make videos on all of them, so I grab a bunch of the questions, we throw them together, and that's the Respawn series. So let's get the ball rolling. First question, do you think that Sim is at a good place now? Yes, kinda, sorta, not really. See, the thing is, Symmetra is better than what she was before. The newest 3.0 is better than 1.0, it's better than 2.0, but it's still kind of lacking. One of the problems is that her primary attack is all but garbage, except for very, very rare situations. So they need to work on that, whether they change the tick rate or modify the damage or something. That needs to be looked at. But I think the other main problem with the character is something that was kind of similar to when Sombra was first released. In order for the character to be effective, you have to have a very coordinated team. I have seen Symmetra players trying to use their teleporter, trying to get their teammates in order to go through it and like flank around the enemy or take some other path, and their teammates just are not doing it. It's like they're completely oblivious and they don't even recognize that the teleporter is in front of them. Like, I've seen people pretty much like screaming, well, not really screaming like in the microphone, but you know, they were basically saying, use the teleporter, go through the teleporter, and people just weren't doing it. So the problem is that it requires a lot of coordination in order for the character to be effective. So I think that the pro-level players are going to be able to do that because they're used to working together, and they're going to have these coordinated strategies and tactics for the different maps that they play on. But if you just throw a bunch of random people together, whether it's solo queue or looking for group, it doesn't matter, because if you just throw those people together, then the Symmetra just isn't going to be effective. So I don't think you can really balance the character around that. I think the character is going to need some changes, a couple of buffs here or there, in order to make it more viable for uncoordinated teams. Otherwise, it's just gonna be problematic. Next question, what do you think of a Toxin Warrior? I'm guessing you're talking about a poison-based hero, which is effectively a damage over time hero, also known as a DOT. And that's one of the damage types that Blizzard just doesn't really use in Overwatch. In their other games, they use dots quite a bit, whether it's poison or magic or fire or whatever it happens to be. There's lots of damage over time stuff. And other games with class-based, hero-based characters also do the same thing, like Dota and all of those. So I don't really know why Blizzard has kind of avoided it. There are a few things, like Ana's primary attack has a very, very quick little dot to it. And also, Widow's Venom Mine has a damage over time effect to it, but it's just absolutely garbage. But for the most part, there's no damage over time effects, and there's lots and lots of potential. There's many cool different things that you could do with damage over time. Like, you could have it so that it stacks, you could have it so that it provides more of a buff or a debuff, depending on how it's working and all that sort of stuff. And there's lots of cool stuff that you could do with it, and Blizzard just hasn't used it for almost anything, and I don't know why they haven't done that. So there's a couple of things. Obviously, you could have the poison-based character, you could have a fire-based character, because I know a lot of people have been asking for that. I don't want to go too much into thinking of possible abilities and stuff like that in this video. Maybe I'll do that at another time. And now, let's go to the speed round. Assuming Blizzard is going to add a healer, what type of healer do you think it will be? Well, what they're going to add, I have absolutely no idea. Something that I think would be cool, though, is a location-based healer. So imagine what Soldier 76 has, the little biotic field, he drops it on the ground right next to him. Imagine you have a support that could kind of like throw those around the map. I think that would be a pretty cool concept. What are your cats' names? It's actually a secret. It's kind of a running joke at this point, but people kept asking me, so I ended up making it a goal on my Patreon account. So if you want to support the channel and help move towards the goal of revealing my cat names, by all means, there'll be a link down below. Is Blizzard knee-jerking buffs, nerfs, new heroes, or are they trying to create stability in the long term? For the most part, it's pretty much just knee-jerk reaction. Do you think Hammond's damage for his primary fire is too weak? No, I think his primary fire is just fine damage-wise. Maybe they need to increase the capacity just a little bit, or maybe reduce the time on the reload, or maybe they just need to modify the damage on his abilities a little bit, but for the primary attack, I think the damage is fine. What kind of hero do you think Overwatch needs right now? Blizzard needs to add about 5 more tanks and about 5 more healers. And when I say tanks, I mean actually tanks. Like characters like Reinhardt and Orisa, whose main responsibility is to prevent damage. Not characters like D.Va and Roadhog, who just try to do lots of damage. Like actual tank characters. Do you think they'll ever add a PTR for console? No, it's not gonna happen. How would you change McCree's ultimate? I would replace it almost entirely. It would still look the same, it would still sound the same, but it would function completely different. I actually made a full video going over this very subject. I'll put a link to that down below so you can go and check it out. Do you think the looking for group and endorsement system actually changed the game experience for the better? If you are using the looking for group system, then yes, it made it better. If you're trying to solo queue into the competitive ladder, no, it is a garbage dump full of throwers, leavers, and other toxic players. The solo queue has gotten even worse, but looking for group, if you're using it, is definitely good. Are you looking forward to the Overwatch Nerf guns? No, I really couldn't care less about them. Do you think the practice range needs a new map? Yes, absolutely. The current practice range is garbage, and there really needs to be something a lot better. There are plenty of custom maps that have been made for CSGO that would work amazingly. Things that help you with your aim training, things that help you with movement, things that help you with all sorts of reaction time and all that kind of stuff. There's tons and tons of things that could be added to a new training map. Blizzard does need to work on that. Do you think Tracer needs any buffs, or do you think she's fine where she is? She's fine where she is. What are possibilities for a new meta? I think there's going to be the triple tank dive, and there's also going to be the disrupt dive. I've talked about both of those things at length in previous videos. Go and check those out. Why do so many people complain about Brigitte? The bash is annoying, but that's the only problem I've had with her. It's because it's easier to complain than to actually learn about the game, learn how to counter a character, and play better. That's why people complain, because it's easier than simply getting better. What motivates you to make Overwatch videos? I enjoy paying my rent and eating food. Will you be reviewing Hammond's counters anytime soon? Yes, I'm actually working on a Hammond versus every hero in the game counter video. It should be released in the next couple days. Do you think Blizzard will ever make a map editor? Yes, they've done this for a bunch of their other games. The Overwatch devs have specifically said that this is something they really want to do, but it is incredibly difficult, and it's probably going to take them at least another year or more in order to get it done. Do you go through every Respawn question? Yes, I do, even the ones that have weird spacing. Are you single? Yes. How do you like the meta? I don't really care what the meta is. I know some people get really hung up on this. Well, I hate XYZ meta. I hate this meta. I hate that meta, whatever. I don't have a problem with it. It's going to happen no matter what they do, no matter how they balance the characters. There's always going to be a meta. My problem is when one particular strategy, like dive was for a very long time, is so powerful that nothing else can counter it. We're kind of now getting to the point, though, where a bunch of things are viable, and it's more of like a rock, paper, scissors thing where you can try this, but it gets countered by that, and then that gets countered by this other thing. So as long as there are multiple different strategies, I'm totally fine with it. I just don't want it where it's only the same 5 or 6 characters every single game, no matter what. That's boring. And that's going to be it for this one. We'll see you next week, hopefully on the correct day. Thanks for watching, and if you'd like to see more, subscribe and hit that bell so you don't miss anything. Also, come hang out in my Discord server and my Twitch live stream. Special thanks to my Patreon supporters. If you'd like to see what kind of cool VIP rewards you can get, check the links down below. And remember, always blame the controller, because it's never your fault.